Absolute blessing. Thank you. Samuel saw Jesse's oldest son and immediately decided he looked like a strong and worthy leader, the one God would choose to be king. Samuel said, "Surely his anointed is now before the Lord." Let's do a little mental exercise this morning. I'm going to ask you a question. A picture is going to immediately come to your mind. Hold on to that picture the best you can. Don't reject it. Don't think about your answer. Don't change the picture. Try to hold on to the first thing that comes into your mind. Ready? Picture a strong and worthy leader. Capture that image. The first one that jumped into your head. Now, what does that leader look like? Are they tall or short? What's their body type? Athletic, petite, heavy set? What does their face look like? Their jawline, their eyes, their age. Are they a man or a woman? What color is their skin? Their hair? Are you surprised by the image that immediately came to you? Did you want that image to change? Be different? Samuel saw Jesse's oldest son and immediately decided he looked like a strong and worthy leader, the one God would choose as king. And what did God say? "Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." And of course, we would all also say that we want to choose a strong and worthy leader based on their heart. And we all know that based on our life experiences, based on our biases, based on the water we swim in, the air we breathe, we have a physical prototype of a strong and worthy leader that pops into our head before we can even think. This water we swim in, this air we breathe, can easily become a filter in which we implicitly filter those around us. That is the influence of this world all around us, the influence it has on our hearts. It would be really easy to preach this story if the text then said David was ugly, short, and obviously not worthy in the eyes of mortals. That would make it easy. That God just saw the heart. But alas, the text fails us. In just a few lines, the text talks about David's beautiful eyes and how handsome he is, ruddy, whatever that is. I like to say that the obvious conflicts in the text represent the complexity of David's story and the traditions that went on living after David's death. The story of David is a complicated story. His call was not direct and simple. Samuel anointed him in front of his brothers. The son his father didn't even invite to the ceremony was the one God had chosen. But he doesn't just become king. After all, Saul is still king. He actually goes and works for Saul. He kills Goliath for Saul. There's a long story of David and Saul coexisting, having a relationship with a lot of tension between them. And in the end, Saul is dethroned, and the kingdom divides between two kings, David and Saul's son. Oh, those systems. There are more battles and power struggles. And then finally, Saul's son is assassinated somehow. And David becomes king over the whole kingdom. David brings the Ark of the Covenant. Remember that one? Remember? Samuel last week slept by the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of God. He brings the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem, and all is right with David, the kingdom, and God. Honestly, all of the power struggles, the deception, the killing, is this really how the king who was chosen for his good heart comes to power? The story of David is complicated. It's complicated because David does not represent something shallow and binary. David represents the deep and multifaceted relationship between humanity and God. David is one man in the scriptures, someone who is honored in the ancient Jewish scriptures and later in the modern rabbinic writings. Someone who is also honored in the Quran as God's administrator on earth, honored for his daily prayer and fasting. And in Christianity, the tradition of the Messiah is born from the hope that the Son of David would come and save the Jewish people. Early Christians looked back at the story of David and found many consistencies between David and Jesus. The Jewish messianic tradition gave birth to a Messiah, Emmanuel, God with us. Throughout these many traditions, David became bigger than one man. David represented the concept of prayerful discernment with God. David represented the tension between the faithful being led by a king and being led by God. Throughout the stories of David, there is a constant tension of whether the faithful should trust a king, whether a king can be faithful to God and therefore faithful to the people, or if the people should lead themselves through their own daily prayer and inward reflection. Be like David. And isn't that something still true today? As we live our lives, we know that we don't control the world around us. We like to think we do, but we don't. The world around us is a myriad of kingships, systems built over centuries, power struggles and allegiances. Peace, prosperity, life itself is tenuous for all of us. And that uncertainty can really tug at our priorities, cloud our vision, change our hearts. The tradition of Jesus again offered us a discerning leader, one who sat in daily prayer, faithful to his relationship with God. For some of us, Jesus was taken to the next level, the one who had a perfect relationship with God. Not erasing David, but fulfilling the promise of David's faithfulness, extending David's faithfulness to all of our hearts. All of us, ministers of God's love, through our faithfulness to God and neighbor. Now, not all of us think that way. Not all of us have the same ideas about Jesus. And that's okay. Those differences aside, I want to offer this. Our world is complicated with many kingships. Our hearts are pulled in a lot of directions by many forces. Some of those forces we can't even readily see or recognize. If we want to trust our hearts, trust the actions and decisions we make in our lives, then discernment, looking inward, spending some time in prayer, meditation, evaluation might be a good thing. If we want to trust our hearts, trust our neighbors, and our actions together in community, we might want to have some heartfelt conversations, examine together the systems around us, hear each other's stories, broaden our hearts with empathy and compassion. Does that sound like faith to you? Does that sound like the potential of church? Does that sound like hope growing here? Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. Amen.